Arsenal will sign Viktor Gyökeres. That is the latest report coming out from leading transfer experts, Damasio. There is a contrary report as well from Fraser Fletcher that we are going to delve into this evening on the Done Deal Show. Make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you're sharing this video. We want to get your opinions. We want to get your views on these stories. There was the big update from Fabrizio Romano as well in relation to the situation with Benjamin Sesko, and still silence from David Ornstein. Now, we know Arsenal fans have been frustrated. We know Arsenal fans are demanding more. Oh, we know that Norgard isn't enough. We know Zubimendi isn't enough. The striker is probably going to appease these fans somewhat. But as ever, we want your views. We want your opinions right here tonight on the Done Deal Show. Let's do this.
You didn't know my nickname was the Beaver, did you? There's nothing worse than playing with a driver you've just won and you keep the sticker on. Take the stickers off. Win all the latest golf equipment here at Caddy Comps every night for as little as 79p. That was levered, that was.
Welcome and good evening, everybody. Hit the like and the share button. Big shout out to our title sponsors tonight, Caddy Comps. If you're a keen golfer, it is the website for you. Some of the prizes are actually being given away for free. There's some free entries, but they give away massive prizes every single day, and you can enter for as little as 79 pence. They're giving away hundreds of thousands of pounds of golf equipment, watches, golf bags, balls, drivers, putters, as you can see. Here you've got the old electronic trolleys and much, much more. That watch there is cool as well. I've entered a few of these myself as I've recently taken up golf, but you might just want the prizes to sell. So get yourself signed up now by scanning the QR code or clicking on the link in the description below. Now, look, I want to start with the news that comes from Damasio, and I want to get everybody's views on this because this was shared this afternoon, and it states here, and this is it verbatim, what has been said. That Arsenal will sign Viktor Gyökeres because he wants to join Arsenal. Other clubs have tried to enter the race, but he will go to Arsenal. He was their first target from the start, and now they have found an agreement with. Now they have to find an agreement with Sporting, but he believes that the deal between Viktor Gyökeres and Arsenal is agreed, that he is the number one target. And for me, look, I understand that Arsenal are working on both. This has been briefed. How can this be true, Terry? And they're still working on the Sesko deal. For me, it's been well documented. I don't know why that is still a question. They're working on both. They're telling both players they're the number one target. But it's another journalist now, multiple in Portugal. And there are some differences because some are saying that an official bid hasn't been made by Arsenal to Sporting yet, which is probably true because nobody likes to count bids as official until they follow certain processes. But they've definitely put in inquiries. They've definitely been talking to intermediaries. But there's multiple journalists now that are holding Gyokeres up as the number one. The silence, I believe, from Ornstein is massive. But we want to go through that tonight. We want to get your opinions on it as a community. I'm very intrigued to know what you think about today's updates on this. Also, are you getting frustrated with this? Are you getting annoyed with this? Is it something that is this approach from Berta? Forget what I think for a moment, because that's not the most important part of the Football Terrace. You are you frustrated as an Arsenal fan? Are you frustrated as a rival or a neutral with maybe not knowing who the number one target is? Because it's clear to me they are briefing something to one media group of media, another to something to another, or if it isn't the media, it's through the players' camps, as it were. But Damasio here believes Arsenal will sign Gyokeres. That's a very clear. That is a very direct. That is you can't misinterpret that. The word will in big capital letters. Well, I made sure the title of on the screen below me is verbatim what he said. And the will's in capital letters. I didn't do that. That's how the article reads. So I'm just repeating what they've said, right? That is a massive, massive claim indeed. Lou, again, outsiders may always see these things different. Big up Lou. Lou here says, I'm frustrated. This isn't our approach, Terry. Listen, I'm not going to lie. I genuinely wish United had both of these players bending over backwards, desperate to join us. And I don't necessarily believe all the stories about Sesko and the release clauses. There might be some truth in that, but I think he wants Arsenal. I think Gyokeres wants. I wish we had two very good to brilliant strikers wanting us. I absolutely agree with you. Said here says you can't trust Damasio. Listen, for me, I don't trust any journalist 100%. And that isn't because the journalists are liars. And this is a great point from Marco. He says that Damasio sometimes, he's not lying, but he can sometimes jump the gun. That's because some journalists aren't looking necessarily for credibility. In the sense of, I think there are some transfer journalists that they want to be accurate so that people fall over backwards to hear what they've got to say. Where others, and Duncan Castles fits this mode. I haven't met Duncan Castles, but I've spoken to a lot of journalists who know him. He has no interest in being considered a transfer guru. He'll just tell you what he's been told and what's being said. And this is the thing, right? Have you ever not been? You've got to remember that for some people, this is work. It isn't entertainment. So, you know, when you're at work, you must have had this in your workplace or at university, college, school, where there's like rumors going around. Oh, did you hear about that? Let's make it like school and college. Oh, did you hear about Jason? What? Oh, he had an argument with one of the teachers. Oh, did you hear about Jason? He grabbed one of the teachers by the throat. Do you hear about Jason? He got punched by a teacher. Do you hear about Jason? He threw a teacher out the window, right? You know, like the stories kind of change and morph over time. That happens in the football world. Now, of course, some journalists will research to ensure that they have got as close to the truth as possible. And I think your Ornsteins and your Fabrizios and many others do that as best they can. There are others that go, do you know what I was told today? Because they're sports writers, more so than sort of investigating transfer journalists. They just tell you what they've heard. And they'll have a source, so they can't ever be sued for it. But they're not worried about whether it comes off or not. And that for me is, I heard someone say the other day, the transfer market, they've got a little bit bored of it because it's all, you know, we don't ever get these surprise signings anymore and nothing comes out the blue. And I think that, listen, I'm not even attacking anyone. I think that's partly because with what the industry has developed is these specialists who we go off their every word. So for me, I totally get your points that some people don't trust Damasio, some people won't listen to him, some people won't take it seriously. And I respect your view on that. But for me, I love the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the back to fronts. This here says that these journalists don't have a clue what's going on with Gyokeres. It's all guesswork. Now, so again, for me, I don't necessarily think that it's guesswork. I think Gyokeres' team are feeding some of this information out there to journalists, mainly for the agencies and intermediaries. But I believe they're telling the truth as far as they know it. I think Arsenal have told Gyokeres, you're the number one choice. But I also think they've told Sesko, you're the number one choice. I think they've told them both the same thing. This happens in football. It happens in most sports where there's trading. It happens in most sports where there's trading. And I was very fortunate to spend a few afternoons with one of the world's first super agents, a guy called John Smith. I don't know him personally. I don't have his number to phone him, but I remember talking to him and he would go through deals and the ups and downs, the ins and outs, and everything else. One thing he did say for sure is that whenever you hear journalists say that they know exactly what a football player's earning, he said that's one thing to always take with a pinch of salt. He said because if they really had a hard copy of what they were earning, they'd probably publish it, if anything else. Stop your Sami Mokbel literally just said if things go as planned, we'll sign Sesko. Stop your Gyokeres prop. Well, listen, Matt, first and foremost, Sami Mokbel is very credible, and this was leading us on to our next point. So again, it's not about me stopping the prop. We're a fan channel, and I will not stop reporting on news. I will not stop reporting on both sides of the story. The irony is, though, Matt, and this is why I won't stop doing it, okay, even though you're asking me to, is last week when Goldbridge and I touched on the Sesko story, when Plattenberg said, as far as he's concerned, that's who Arsenal were going to sign. I got a different group of people saying, shut up talking about that because we know it's Gyokeres now. So if I took everybody's advice and if I took advice from you today and then Lou tomorrow and then Titus the next day and then Supreme Eye Test, then who else? Then David, and then I am. If every day I didn't talk about a deal, I didn't talk about Isak because the Newcastle fans hate it. I didn't do a match reaction here because the Chelsea fans don't like it. And I don't touch on Man United after a loss because these guys don't. Eventually, we'd have no channel. And if we all did that, and if you, the viewers, didn't watch videos that other people told you not to listen to because they don't think we should be talking about this transfer rumor, then you'd all be sitting there in silence and it ends. So unfortunately, Matt, I'm not going to stop talking about things that me and my community want to go through. And the vast majority of the Football Terrace community enjoy these conversations. It's more about discussing what's going on and giving views and opinions. I get a small percentage that don't like the stories being discussed, but I say it every night and I'll say it again. This channel is not for you. Go somewhere else. You don't need to watch this. That millions of people a month that watch our videos understand exactly what we're doing, and that is talking about big stories, whether they end up happening or not. And we like to sit here together and discuss them. If you don't like it, Matt, you can leave. Terry, you should talk about it, but don't act like it's a done deal. Yeah, where have I said it's a done deal? Where have I said 100% it's done? I haven't. I've literally spoken about it. I've done exactly what you have said. But when I'm presenting you with what the claim is being made, all right, when I'm presenting the claim that's being made, I'm going to present it in the way in which the journalist has said it to the best of my ability. That isn't me saying it. So again, if I say something horrible now about you, Titus, I won't, but say I did, and then you went and repeated to somebody, oh, guess what Terry Flewers just said to me? He called me this, that, and the other, and he really shouted at me. Imagine that person says to you, why are you shouting and swearing at me for, bruv? You go, hang on, no, I'm not shouting and swearing at you. I'm telling you in what Terry said in the tone he gave it. Imagine someone then having a go at you for talking to them in that way. It wouldn't make any sense. There we go. Simon Mokbel just said we're getting Sesko. Has that just happened now? That's crazy. And we'll see what happens. I mean, this is what's ironic, right? I think Sami Mokbel is an excellent journalist. He's on the Football Terrace next Friday. And I'll take his word as the truth. I'll believe that he is giving us the best information that he has. What I do find interesting is I'm seeing people in my comments, right? I can't wait to read this comment out. The people that I see people in my comment section going, but Sami Mokbel said it's Sesko. You are the same people saying that you're not getting Zubimendi, and he broke that. Terry, you call yourself the Done Deal Show. Now, the show is called the Done Deal Show. It's just a name. The same as I've got a show called Straight Facts, which is a piss take name out of idiots who give opinions and think they're facts. The show isn't about straight facts. It's about opinions. There's irony to it. Please learn irony. Please. Oh, he said it via the Latte Firm. I like Latte Firm. Brilliant, brilliant podcast indeed. Yeah, so that I'll go and listen to that a little bit later. I'll go and get some comments on it now. We're live. We can do this. Let's see what's being said here. Sesko. I'm sorry, be top of the pops. If people put that out there now. Major breaking news is if everything went according to plan, Arsenal will end up signing Benjamin Sesko. Well, this is it, though. Again, just read that statement. That's a great statement. And let's break that statement down. Now, I'm having Sami Mokbel on next week. This is the questions I'm going to ask him. So when you say, and Sami and Lou, I do agree. I trust Sami Mokbel more than I trust Damasio. But this is the nuance of it. This is the nuance of it. If everything went according to plan, but again, according to other reports, it hasn't all gone to plan. Now, let's just forget what I believe for a minute and let's be objective. There's talks of him not being comfortable with being behind Kai Havertz. There's talk about him wanting buyout clauses. There's talk about the wage demands being too high. And there's talk about Leipzig asking for too much money. So you look at those 3 or 4 things, that could literally fall into the bracket of not going according to plan. Which is why I think Arsenal are doing the right thing. Said it all along. on working on both deals. Now, Damasio has clearly been briefed that Gyokeres is the number one target. He may have been briefed incorrectly by Arsenal. He may have been incorrectly briefed by an intermediary connected to that deal. Why? Because Gyokeres has been told he's the number one target. Many people think it's Sesko. Many people think it's Gyokeres. One group are going to be right. The one thing I do believe is guesswork is anyone 100% knowing. Because I think the way Arsenal are negotiating these deals is by telling two camps very similar things. But where Sami Mokbel is right is it could definitely happen. But you've got to listen to that statement again there. If everything went according to plan, and everything went according to plan, that sounds a little bit past tense, but I've got to listen to it. But it might not all go according to plan. So Arsenal still might sign Gyokeres. And we're not going to know until we get a here we go, essentially. Terry, with the greatest respect, why are you always replying to some silly comments from people that are either seeking attention or they are genuinely dumb instead of commenting on genuine comments? That's a fair point. That is a fair point. You know, sometimes they're super chat, sometimes they're members, and I will respect that. But it's a fair point, and maybe I should ignore more of them. That's very, very true. Very, very true. The credible people are saying Sesko, and the Mickey Mouse ones are saying Gyokeres. Well, look, that's not necessarily true, because Fabrizio Romano has said that Gyokeres has committed himself to you, which means you guys have held deep negotiations. David Ornstein has barely, he's mentioned in passing in conversations both. But if you actually go to Ornstein's Twitter account, okay, and I looked at this last night. If you go to his Twitter account and you search it, and you search the word Sesko, the only times he has mentioned Sesko have been, the only time he's ever mentioned Sesko was in June the 11th, 2024, where he says Sesko will stay at Leipzig. And he mentioned them the same day, but earlier, and he said that he's expected to sign a new contract. Since then, there hasn't been a tweet from him. There hasn't been a major update from him in relation to that. Now, with Gyokeres, and this is the one that's most key to me, Gyokeres, again, just one. And that was on the 30th of March, 2025. He said, Arsenal developing strong interest in Gyokeres as possible striker signing. So when you say only, and I don't see you as one of the silly people, when you say only the credible people have said Sesko, that isn't true, because arguably the most credible person when it comes to Arsenal has not mentioned him at all for over 12 months in relation to Arsenal. And I'm talking about tweeting out and putting detail into an article about a deal. And he's barely mentioned strikers at all. He said that you're interested in both and you like both. And he spoke about the targets being a striker. But in terms of something direct, he hasn't done anything. So I do disagree with your notion there, my friend. I do. Let's have a look at some more of your comments that are coming in here. Sesko gets a lot of hate. Don't forget that he played most of last season out of position. Listen, I'll be honest with you, Marley. I don't think Sesko would be a bad signing for Arsenal. I don't think the deal would be awful. I don't think the deal would be horrendous. I see a lot of people. Listen, my view, and you'll hear this if you'll hear this directly if Arsenal sign Sesko. I believe signing Sesko is a mistake if you're turning down an opportunity to sign Gyokeres, because I think Gyokeres is better. However, I don't think Sesko is a bad signing like other people do. So from my point of view and perspective, it's a really difficult one, because I agree with Sam today when he says Arsenal should be signing Sesko. But then I disagree with this notion that, and if they don't, it's the biggest disaster in the world. It's horrendous business. They're going to be, I've heard, they're going to be in trouble. He is a Liverpool fan, like I'm laughing. I think Sesko is a lot better than people were giving him credit for. So I don't think he's this really bad player that everybody, that the Arsenal fans should be panicked about signing. Does that make sense? And I just equally though, I see a similar from people that want Sesko really playing down the qualities of Gyokeres, and I think that's really disingenuous as well, because I don't think he is. I've heard people say he's clunky and awful, and I just think I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. I don't think that's the case. I think I think they're both very, very good indeed. Very, very good indeed. What I'm doing, I'm just updating the title here because I want to include the Sesko talk in this conversation as well. I think it's very, very important to do that as we're live and things evolve whilst you're live as well. We have a super chat here that says, hit the like button, please. Thank you, Luke. I appreciate that a lot, my friend. Let's get the likes up, please. Just make sure you're all subscribing. Let's make sure bell notifications are turned on as well. People don't like reading the key word there is if. Well, exactly. And that's why, again, you know, you get what Matt said. And listen, I know Matt, you know, you can sometimes, you're a bit of a keyboard warrior, Matt. You're very tough on the keyboard, as I've seen today. I've seen some of your stuff you've been saying to people, and I wish you would stop because you wouldn't say it to people's faces. But because I think you're a nice lad, actually, in reality. But I think you put on a bit of a persona, and you don't need to do that. But it does say if it goes according to plan. So the idea that DiMaggio might not get this right, and I'll say he got that one wrong. But the idea that he's wrong because Sami Mokbel says if everything goes according to plan, it'll be Sesko. It doesn't mean that at all. Because, for instance, let's just to this super chat. Let's say the last time Sami Mokbel got updated, that was the case. Say that was a week ago. But in the last week, if things haven't gone according to plan, it might now be Gyokeres they sign, right? So, look, and the other thing today as well, the big update from Fabrizio. Now, people had a pop at Fabrizio for this, where they went, well, you know, so what if Sesko has suddenly followed Arsenal Football Club on socials? Well, my view is it isn't that following Arsenal is a 100% sign that Arsenal will get Sesko. But what I thought was very interesting was Fabrizio updating us on that whilst quoting his story about Arsenal advancing their talks for Sesko. That would suggest that he knows something. So, look, it's going to be a very, very interesting dynamic to keep an eye on moving forward. There's no doubt about that. Happy Gunners here says, I think the club working on both deals, Martinelli will be sold to Bayern. So are you suggesting there that they're going to actually buy both? Because that would be very intriguing indeed. Very intriguing indeed if they were to buy both. Team Talk has also reported tonight that Gyokeres has informed Man United he is ready to join. Well, again, that's Fraser. I was going to speak about that KJ. That comes from Fraser Fletcher, who I know a little bit. I've worked with him. I have sent him a message. He hasn't come. Did I actually send him a message? Did I actually press send? Or have I not done it? Hang on a minute. Because I just went to my inbox on Twitter and I couldn't see that I sent it. No, I did. He hasn't come back to me. Don't ignore me, Fraser. Yeah, look, I've seen that news tonight as well. I don't. I'm not going to play the news down. I'm not going to disrespect Fraser, you know, because he's a really good lad. He works very, very hard in the industry, and I've seen him get a number of exclusives right. But from my point of view, I sort of think, Guy, you need to get Matt off of here. He's a clown. Why? What's he saying and doing now? What's he saying and doing now? Is he getting rude to people? Yeah, I don't know what Matt does this. So I'll tell you something about Matt. He done this what he does every summer is he locks on to 2 or 3 journalists or accounts, and he just believes in every word they say. They become like he's God. He had different people last year to this year. Like the amount of times he was in our group chats, almost getting aggressive and nasty, saying, "You're not getting anybody but Southgate." It's 100% Southgate taking over at Man United. Didn't happen. So, and then he moves on to new people that tell the gospel truth. What Matt struggles to do is have objective conversations. Again, you could end up with Sesko and someone go, you did a video saying it was going to be Gyokeres. I didn't say it was going to be Gyokeres. I'm just reporting on what's being said out there. What I won't do is ignore certain stories because certain people get triggered. But yeah, could Fraser be right? Fraser could be right, KJ. Fraser could be right. He could have told Man United he's ready to join. He could have said that because what Sami Mokbel's saying is right, and the Sesko deal is about to happen. So he went, all right, guys, I'm ready to join now. And by the way, listen, if Arsenal get Sesko and my club get Gyokeres, I'm buzzing. If Man United end up in that deal, you're not going to see me unhappy. I will say that I think Arsenal have made a mistake, still signing a very good striker, but I certainly 110% will not be saying that I'm that anything other than amazing, buzzing. I don't care if we're second choice. I don't care if you call it sloppy. I don't care one iota. I don't care one iota. I'm taking him. I'm enjoying him. I'm loving it. This here from Carl, he says, Sesko is like Nunes. Viktor is prolific. Love you, Tell. Thank you, Carl. Sesko is like Nunes. Look, it's just funny, Carl. There are some people, bro, who think that Gyokeres is like Nunes. And it's a great dichotomy of opinion. Oh, Matt, hold up. What have I actually done? I don't know. It's just someone said, Matt, calm down. This is your social skills struggling here. It's just a bit of fun, bruv. A bit of fun. Stay calm, stay cool, stay collected. A Red-Eye Gunner here says that Gyokeres will flop in the Premier League. He couldn't even do it in the Championship. He did do it in the Championship. He did. He definitely did it in the Champions League. Championship. Did it in the Champions League as well. This comment from Sky. Where'd it go? Martinelli must stay. One bad season. Well, couldn't you argue he had two? Brinton? If we're being fair. Sky says, you're right, Terry. They will tell both they are the first choice just in case they don't get one, so they can pounce on the other, in my opinion. Yeah, I think what's helped Arsenal in this circumstance a little bit, and it depends who their real number one choice is, but both clubs have done the same thing, so it's been a benefit, is both clubs have almost whacked the price up, and it's slowed things down, because what would have been very telling, and I think would have resolved the situation, had Leipzig have stuck to their original valuation, had Sporting let him go for the 50 plus 10 million pounds, Arsenal would have been forced now to actually pick and reveal their number one choice. They would have been forced into doing it, because Sporting would have sat there and gone, hang on. Say Sesko is number one. I'm saying that so Matt don't cry. Say Shesko's number one. And Sporting say, look, you can have him for 50 plus 10. And Gyokeres is going, well, you told me I was number one. We've got the price. Let's go. I've agreed personal terms. Let's go. And Arsenal go, we're going to hang on a few weeks. That's when the dynamic can change for a player. So, when I was talking about Mbeumo to United, you don't think Spurs can get him off you? No, not as long as Man United uphold their end of the bargain. So say we get an agreement now. Say United go, right, we're going to pay 55 plus 10. And Brentford go, yes. And then Man United start going, all right, cool. And we don't sign him. We delay. A player might change his mind and go, well, I might go to a club that will bid. But I think because both Sporting and Leipzig keep whacking that price up and haven't yielded yet, it's probably given Arsenal a little bit more time to test the waters. And I think they've maybe seen some character situations with players. But equally, they've got to negotiate either way, because both clubs have put the price up. They've got to negotiate down. And this would be the one thing that it wouldn't be Arsenal's fault, because they're not the ones whacking the price up. But if the number one targets club don't yield and the second choice targets club do yield, then it creates an interesting situation indeed. But that's also why I love it. Is it a deal agreed, though? Yes. According to a number of reports, Arsenal and Viktor Gyökeres have agreed their deal. The player wants the club. Arsenal have said he wants them. It's just about getting things resolved. So that is the claim that has been made tonight. You can read that on the screen right now. What was claimed, and we'll read it to you again, is this. Let me go back now, because I've fast forwarded through that one. This is what it says here, that Arsenal will sign Viktor Gyökeres because he wants to join Arsenal. Other clubs have tried to enter the race, but he will go to Arsenal. He is their first target from the start. All that's remaining, he then goes on to allude to, is the two clubs finding that agreement. But it says the deal between club and player is agreed. Number one target. The player wants to join. He's rejected everybody else, and it will happen. That is the report that we are reading tonight. Remember, though, we're a fan channel. We're not making the claim. So please, if you want to cry, go and do it elsewhere. Terry Ben Jacobs said Berta has the 2 deals almost done, then pulls the trigger on the one he wants. Conflicting reports might mean it's almost done. But this is the thing. This is the one element where I think everyone's saying the Gyokeres news is bullshit. Everybody's saying the Sesko news is bullshit. Everybody's saying there's no way Arsenal would work on 2 deals at the same time. It blows up in your face when you research Berta and when you listen to the people that discuss how he operates. This is the standard operating model. So this is why I say I don't think anybody's guessing. The only guess you're going to get from anyone is who do you think the player is going to be? Nobody knows for certain. There's always an element of a guess. And if you get it right, it wasn't because you 100% knew. It's because you guessed correctly. There is a fundamental difference between guessing correct. If I get the lottery numbers right, I didn't know what they were going to be. I guessed. And that's what people are doing in this situation. Now, some people are more informed than others. Some people will say they've got educated guesses. I'm not going to lie. My mind changes every week. Right now, I think I'm 60-40 in favor of Gyokeres. But equally, I know where my bias might come from on that. I think I might be a little biased because I am genuinely desperate for that not to be the case. And I think I'm putting worst case scenario out there. Whoever we get, I just want them to dunk against Liverpool, is what Abraham says. Look, there is a little side story here too that I'm intrigued about. There is a potential for whichever one of these strikers Arsenal gets, the other one goes to Man United. Wouldn't that be? I mean, it basically means whatever way it goes. I think the Arsenal fan base are. I want to say the Arsenal fan base are probably split 50-50. Some want Sesko, some want Gyokeres, and all for different reasons. The Man United fan base isn't. I think it's like 80% Gyokeres. But do you know what the Man United fan base will do if Arsenal get Gyokeres and we end up with Sesko? Is we'll get behind our player because we do that, generally speaking. There are some anomalies where we don't. That opening game of the season, if they're both starting, it would be such an amazing side dish to the football. I'd absolutely love it. Really good question here from Sebastian that says, and I quote, do you think Gyokeres' attitude is a problem? Personally, I think he has the very right to do what he is doing, what he has done. It never feels right when people refuse to go back and train and they're never playing for the club again. At the same time, let's all imagine that I privately turn around to KJ and say, you can have that 2 weeks on holiday. Oh, and by the way, you're getting a 10 grand bonus this year. I'm making that number up, KJ, so don't get your hopes up, right? 10 grand bonus, and you can have a holiday on those 2 weeks. I verbally agree it in a meeting between him and I. He writes it down in a notepad so he remembers. What would you guys say if 6 months later I'm sitting here and going, oh, KJ hasn't bothered turning up for work today? KJ called in sick, but I know he's angry at me. He's going to give his notice in. And you're like, why? And then KJ comes out and said, well, he promised me a £10,000 bonus. I've done nothing wrong to not get it. And I was meant to be going away for 2 weeks with my lovely lady wife. And then last minute, Terry pulled the holiday time off me and said I had to work. You would all say that would be a scumbag move from me. And you understand why KJ is looking for a new job. You understand why the working relationship has broken down. So for me, the fact that they've promised him he can leave for a set price and they're going back against it, I get why he's behaving the way in which that he is. So I don't think his attitude is a problem per se. I really, really don't. I really, really don't think it's a problem per se. If indeed the stories are true that the club have kind of gone back against him, gone against him in that way. So yeah, I don't think he's got an attitude problem. I think he now wants that move. He's 27. He wants that move to a legacy club, a giant club. Right now, he's picking Arsenal. It could end up being United, maybe even Liverpool. There are some loose reports that Liverpool are still circling in that deal. We're going to cover that because we've got Ben Jacobs on at 1 p.m. Tomorrow. We have Ben Jacobs on the show talking transfers. So I'm going to be going through that with him in more detail then and getting his views and his opinions on that. Yeah, for me, that's really, really key indeed. Really, really key. So I'm just checking on Twitter updates because a lot of people tell me to go and check Twitter, which will be cool. Let's have a look at a few more comments that are coming through here. Let's have a little look. By the way, before I go any further, I want to give a big shout out to our title sponsors tonight, Caddy Comps. Honestly, if you're a golf player, get yourself across there now. It's amazing competition. Loads of free golf equipment are being given away for some of it very small entries, as little as 79 pence for an entry. You can see that there for a brand new 2025 all elements bag here. You've got the top quality balls that you can win, right up to the top prize here at the top. Now, this is the bad boy here. You can win a Range. I'll click on this a little bit. You can win a Range Rover in this one here. Which one is the car brand, right? I don't know why they're asking you that there to entry, but there you go. You got the Land Rover there. You can win all the different golf equipment. 2.5 grand in cash. Absolute load of fun. You can go check out their Trustpilot score as well. They've got a 5 rating on Trustpilot as well. So very, very credible company indeed. You can click on the QR code or click on the link in our live chat or description and go and play over there. Sesko to United. We will see if that happens. I was going to do something a minute ago. My brain has just turned to mush. Wayne here says Arsenal fans are the worst. This is an Arsenal fan talking, by the way. Some fan base who questioned the Ben White signing said he wasn't good enough. Same fans sent threats to Ramsdale's family. Look, I know a lot of people. Me and Staffy are probably going to have this big argument on Friday because we're going to be talking about this. And he said that anyone that says Norgard is a good signing is lying. And I'll say it now. I think my gut feeling, and we might end up disagreeing or agreeing in the end on this. Anyone who's saying that it's a world-class signing, it's going to transform their midfield and make them the best midfield in England, I agree. If anyone's saying that, they're lying. What I can't wait to ask Staffy is, what does he mean by anyone who says it's a good signing? Because to me, good is average. I think someone who's going to be... I mean, I actually forgot to mention this earlier. Like, Moreno's also in that midfield, right? He's bottom of the whole pile, Norgard. He's the fifth man. You've got Odegaard, you've got Rice, you're going to have Zubimendi, you're going to have Moreno. He's right down the bottom of the pecking order. He's a good signing for £9 million as the backup midfield player. I don't really get the big issue. I don't get the meltdown. And me and Lee Judges were talking on Twitter earlier because I saw him ranting, and he's like, "Well, what?" I said, "I don't think the order of it," because he was moaning about why the big signings happened yet. And I sort of the order of the signings doesn't dictate the priority. And he asked me a good question: what would you prefer, Zubimendi or Partey, or Zubimendi and Norgard? And yeah, Zubimendi and Partey makes sense, but I don't think you guys should be trusted. How many extra years was Partey asking for, by the way? Even if it's 2, I wouldn't trust him on more money for 2 years and his body not breaking down. I really wouldn't do it personally. You know, I do think it's a good signing based on who he is, what he is, and for how much. I think people are going well over the top. And you're right, David. It was the same with the David Raya signing. They all went mad about it. Tomiyasu. I know he's out injured now, but let's not forget that the first couple of years he was excellent. The Zinchenko signing and the Jesus signing, again, the first few years, they were excellent for you, and they did their job. This idea that I keep hearing Arsenal never have good windows. Last summer was bad, but you can't not have had good. You can't have a shit manager and not have had good transfer windows and gone from being 8th place twice to getting into title races. It's all just over the top and overly dramatic. If it's, I think we're doing well, but we just need more, I think that is palatable. But it's always shit. It's always shit. Then why are you even worried about the timing? Listen, it's your club. You're allowed to feel how you want. I'm just confused by it. He wanted 3 years. See, 3 years on 250k. If that's true, what you're telling me, I'm only taking your word. That's far too much money for that amount of years. Far too much. Absolutely far too much money. It really, really is. Look, people, I'm going to open up the lines if you guys want to come and have your say after again, we were live and there was an update from Sami Mokbel. We've added that into the title and the description of the video because I think it's important to be really fair and broad when it comes to talking about these scenarios. Let me share that link now in the live chat. So you'll see it in the live chat. I'll pin it to the live chat as well. If you guys want to phone in, love to hear from you tonight on these stories regarding Sesko, regarding Gyokeres. That's who we're here talking about. But by the way, people, get like buttons hit if you haven't done so already. Get yourselves subscribing to the channel. It means a great deal to me every day when you guys come in and support us. It really, really does. It really, really does. It means the world. I'm just checking Twitter and everything else while I'm waiting to see if any callers come through. He is right, Staffy. Staffy's got me here. He said you rated Hoyland. But I don't understand why he doesn't like Norgard. I don't get it. I don't get it. Norgard's decent, man. Decent. He's decent. But there we go. I replied, I'll take that L. I'll take that. We all get it wrong. I don't think Staffy, though, has understood my sarcasm in these tweets. Personally, I hope he's got the sarcasm. I hope he's understood the sarcasm. I'm going to message that back as well. I hope you have read the sarcasm in these messages, by the way. Sometimes, one, it's hard to read. Two, I know he's born in Egypt, but he's North American. And sometimes North American people just miss sarcasm, especially in the written form. They really, really do. What do you mean send you the link, Henry? It's pinned to the live chat, you bell end. Just click on the live chat. Send you the link. All right, I'll send you a WhatsApp with the link. There we go. We'll send you the link, Emery, me old mucker. Sending you the link. What is this KJ said in the group chat? The amount of abuse some journalists get for stories now is crazy. This is what's crazy, right? I actually hope that they won't stop it. What's this here saying? Oh, okay, right. It's about the Sesko news. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy. I think Henry is going to call in, and we're going to take some calls. We've got Jason, we've got Manny waiting backstage as well. And we have another super chat that's come through here, and it says, if Arsenal get Viktor G, United must get Sesko. I like Sesko. See, I'm not going to change my mind on him just because, you know, I've always thought he's a decent player. And I think a lot of people that slag him off haven't watched him play. And by the way, we all get things wrong. Like when I watched Rasmus play for Atalanta, when I did my research and was looking forward to him coming, I saw someone decent hold-up play, good football. He came into United and did a lot of that and then got worse. So, you know, there is a chance that Sesko comes in, looks okay and gets worse. There's a chance he comes in, looks okay and gets brilliant. There is a chance he comes in and just clicks to English football and looks amazing from day one. No one really knows. We all guess. We all give a prediction. We sometimes get it right. We sometimes get it wrong. And just because I'm winding Staffy up online, just because he got one thing wrong before doesn't mean he's wrong now. Equally, he might say Norgard will be rubbish for Arsenal and he ends up being brilliant. The difference is with people like Staffy and me is that when we get something wrong, we won't run that agenda and wait for a bad week 3.5 years later. We'll just go, yeah, I got that wrong. He's pretty good and move on from it. And I think that's the most important thing personally to do. Right. Let me just get this ready. Henry Wright is on with me now. Hello, mate. Welcome back to the show.
You doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I wanted to get your view actually on this situation because, you know, Damasio, along with a lot of the Portuguese press, CNN Portugal, David Ornstein to a certain degree, because the last time he properly updated and did an article about a striker going to Arsenal, it was Gyokeres. You've got Ben Jacobs and Fabrizio that have said, you know, Gyokeres has picked Arsenal as the preference. That clearly means there's been deep conversations. Damasio tonight has said it will happen. You then get the German press that say it's going to be Sesko. You've got Sami Mokbel that's very well informed, saying if all goes according to plan, it'll be Sesko. Why do you think it's so split? And where do you think, which of the two strikers do you think it will end up being?
Why do I think it's so split? I think it was the Athletic that said that the entire hierarchy prefer the move to Sesko, and then they also said that Berta is the one that's pushing for Gyokeres. My gut feeling is that if they are going to get a number 9, it will be Sesko, or Sesko, shall I say. However, I think they should be signing Gyokeres because I think Sesko is 21 years of age, and I think he's going to probably need a little bit of adapting to the Arsenal system. What Arsenal need is someone in the box who knows where the back of the net is. Like, he's probably the most wanted number 9 by Premier League teams at the moment. You've got Man United who are interested. You've got Liverpool. A few links are out there. I don't know if you've mentioned that yet on your stream, but they're interested. Yeah. They are reportedly interested. It's like Gyokeres is also 27. He's coming into his prime years. I don't think Arsenal can afford to wait another maybe 18 months, 2 years for Sesko to get up to scratch and potentially be scoring. And then I think it might have even been David Ornstein said that, or it might have even been someone else in the Athletic, that he still wants Havertz to be involved in the number 9 role. Well, you can do that with Sesko. You can't do that with Gyokeres. If Gyokeres comes in, he scores 20 league goals. That's the sort of signing that Liverpool fans and City fans go. Hughes in the chat. Who's this joker? I'll see you soon, mate. Yeah, like a lot of rival fans will be thinking, okay, shit, Arsenal are serious now. They are absolutely dead serious. And especially if they bring in Rodrigo, that's their priority signing. But when you look at what City have done with Nori, with Cherky, with Reinders, with the young Norwegian player, and Liverpool have got Wirtz, maybe Isak, Frimpong and Gyökeres, Arsenal need to make that signing where it's like, wow. And I get some Arsenal fans are frustrated because they've got Nordegaard over the line. I think that's good. But it works out £9.5 million. Like, for a Premier League proven player who's your 5th choice midfielder. And the whole stuff about, we shouldn't have signed Kepa. Okay, how many backup goalkeepers in the league are better than Kepa? City have got Ortega, and Liverpool have got Alisson Becker and Georgi Mamardashvili. Who's Man United's backup goalkeeper? Bayendir?
Bayendir, yeah.
Is he better than Kepa? Is Kingsley better than Kepa? I mean, it's just... Yeah. Look, Arsenal fans did this, and I saw you said it about 5 minutes ago, which was spot on. That they said this about Tomiyasu. Oh, why are we signing him? They said this about David Raya. They said this about this player, that player. Like, they are going to make a statement signing. They're just ticking other boxes first. Like, we're still in June. We've got all of July and all of August. If we're sitting here beginning of August and they still haven't signed a striker, then Arsenal fans have got every single right to be, shouting to the rooftops. But right now, back to your original question, I think it will be Sesko, but I think they should sign Gyokeres.
Yeah, I'm in the same space as you. I think right now, I think it's going to be. No, I'm the other way. I think it's going to be Gyokeres.
You think it'll be Gyokeres?
Yeah, I think they will, and I'm gutted about that because I want him. And I'll be honest, I really, really want him. I think they're going to get Gyokeres. Big up yourself, Hugh Wizzy. We'll be seeing you again soon. We've got some really fun stuff coming up in July. Fingers crossed. The boys that play poker. By the way, I did think back to that thing, and I wish I'd lost that final now to a Spurs fan and won the Europa League final after I gave it the big one. But there we go. Yeah, I hear you on that. Look, and I also don't get and I'm not. Look, the Norgard thing. I've never seen that kind of reaction to a backup player being purchased, and I get they're disappointed that Partey's leaving. At the same time, I think what Partey's. I'm only going by what I've been told in here. If it really is a 3-year extension, like $250K a week, they'd be mad to pay that. Even if it's 2 years at that money, they'd be crazy because I don't think his body's going to last. And then what you'll get is, how stupid were we? We could have got a nice little backup like someone like a Norgard who's fit and available and everything else. Now I say that, touch wood, he'll end up being injured all the next season and Norgard. But yeah, I don't know.
33 as well, like what, or 32? Why are you going to
31.
Okay,
equally, listen, if this is it for Arsenal, if they end up signing Sesko, they don't get a left winger. They don't get no one like a Kudus. They don't sign no new centre backs. If this is it for them, then I would totally agree with them about losing their minds. I don't get it right now. They're linked to some really good players, and some deals are just taking a bit more time. Let's take some more calls. Emery's going to stay with us. Let's go to Jason. What are you saying, Jace?
Nothing much. Nothing much. All good. All good. I just saw this. I saw the news. I saw your stream actually. I was just like, you know what? I'm fingers crossed. Please, I'm praying this will happen. Please, but I'm just more likely to be leaning towards Sesko because I think that's kind of the deal that is going to be done. Unfortunately, I don't want this to happen. I don't want that Sesko deal to happen. But I'm just saying that it's more likely to be done because I saw reports where on Instagram I saw Fabrizio's thing number one, and there's another report where there was like a barber or something. They got inside information where they had something going on there. So which is kind of like confused the minds of Arsenal fans. But I want this striker situation sorted out ASAP. And you know what? With the Norgard deal, I would actually say, I'm a bit flat. I'm a bit deflated. However, I would say, it's cheap business. And I would say, it's just kind of like...
Is it more the timing? Like if that signing was made, once you got the striker in, end of August, would you be like, right, okay, it makes sense. But now, because obviously it's your...
Cool.
It's early in the window.
Cool. I would say all right, but at the same time, it's a massive downgrade from Partey actually, because Partey actually offers a lot of things that we didn't have, a lot of qualities that we didn't have.
Can I ask you a question though? Can I ask you a question about that? What I read maybe about 3 weeks ago, and I can't remember which article it was, but what I read, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone to members only in the chat. So if you're a member, big up yourself, and thank you very much for supporting us. I read that Zubimendi is the Partey replacement, and what Arsenal were essentially looking for Partey to do is be the Jorginho replacement. So therefore, Partey leaving and Norgard coming in isn't Norgard replacing Partey, it's Norgard replacing Jorginho. And I do think Jorginho is a better passer of the ball, especially when he's being pressed. But I think there's many other attributes, especially when it comes to the physical side of things, that Jorginho where Norgard is better than Jorginho at this stage of their career. So is he really the Partey replacement? I know it looks like Partey said he's leaving, so Norgard's coming in, but with Zubimendi signing, he's starting. Declan Rice wasn't going to be dropped. Odegaard wasn't going to be dropped. Yeah. So Partey was stepping down to the bench anyway, wasn't he? So that's the only question I have when people say,
yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because I always rated Partey's physicality, which Zubimendi doesn't have for the Premier League. That's the only downside it is. So I'm just like, you know what, Zubimendi, yeah, cool, decent signing, but I'm happy with the signing. Don't get me wrong, but it's just that I've missed the physicality of Partey very much. And,
listen, I hear that, and I think that's gonna be, they're gonna maybe not live and die exactly by that decision, but this summer with Zubimendi coming in, the striker you go for, the left winger you decide to go with, I think a lot of heads might roll. At least from a fan perspective, if they get that wrong, I agree with you on that.
But when it comes to Norgard, maybe that should be the last part of the jigsaw, like last part of the puzzle. But however, I really wanted a creative midfielder this summer. I really wanted to create because last season we lacked a lot of creativity, and you know what? Are they addressing those problems whatsoever? And I don't really think that they should. They are.
Actually, you need one though. Like if 1 year he gets more game time, do you need another creative midfielder? You got Rice, Marino, Odegaard, Wanyeri.
Wanyeri, I feel like he needs time to develop that. He needs a lot of time. I feel like we need a little bit more experience, like Morgan Rogers or someone, or someone that is creative, actually, kind of chipping with the goals as well. That's what I need.
He's going to be 70, 80 million quid, probably something like that. And if you're going to do 100
this is the one thing I would say. I think Arsenal fans have missed this opportunity with the crying today. Is now that you've got a cheap replacement in for Jorginho or Partey, whichever way you want to express it, there's definitely loads of money left to go out and buy those extra players. There can't be an excuse now that you've got him. So I think that's a positive on that side. Jason, always a pleasure to speak, mate. Thank you for jumping on, brother. I appreciate it a lot. Next on the show, Liam is here. What are you saying, Liam?
Hello, Terry. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very, very well, mate. Obviously, the Norgard news has happened today. 2 big updates this evening, very much contradictory of each other, as we're aware as fans of football, and obviously Arsenal fans are like, what's going on here? Will it be Sesko? Will it be Gyokeres? What's your head saying after all the updates today?
I'm not an Arsenal fan, United fan,
Oh, you are?
But,
Sorry. I speak to a lot of
No,
people. I
no,
sometimes forget. Apologies.
no problem. No problem, sir. Yeah. I feel like there's this misconception going around that Gyokeres is, United's second choice and all this. I feel like people forget Man United's plan A was win Europa League, get Gyokeres. Was it not coming out that Fabrizio said it was 99% if we got Champions League, we would have already had Gyokeres at this point? But I just feel, he's still set on I want Champions League football. And I just feel like the unpopular guy that's, sitting at the bar and there's two girls and then there's the popular guy there. And I kind of have to wait for him to make his decision. And then,
Listen, I can't relate to that, mate. No, I'm joking. And we've all been there. We've all been there at that point in our lives. I look at it this way. I get the analogy, but this is a professional situation. Does that make sense? So,
no, for sure.
It's one of those things where it isn't personal for Gyokeres. It's the best decision for it. Best decision for him. I think if Arsenal go for Sesko, it's good business for them. But I think they're making a mistake on turning down Gyokeres. But one person's mistake can benefit another individual. Because what has happened before, and if you want to go to relationships, this has definitely happened. I have friends who are married to the loves of their lives. But that lovely woman, and I've been at their weddings and they've got children together and they're great together. I remember when we first met her and her friends, and this girl was like, not been very happy, broke up. I remember being in this bar with this group of girls. We're only like 20, 21. And she was moaning about how the love of her life had messed her around and she recently broke up with him. My mate swooped in. He's now married to her. The point is, had that other guy not messed up, my mate wouldn't have... He didn't sit there and go, I ain't going to go for her. Somebody else has given her a kiss before. He would have never met the person he loves the most. So for me, I think you can look at it both ways. Does that make sense? Where it could still work out best for... And United have gone through that before. Players have rejected us and come later. There've been players that wanted other clubs that didn't materialize. They've come to Manchester United. Ronaldo was set to become an Arsenal player. They just didn't pay Sporting enough money. Fergie didn't go, oh no, he wanted Arsenal first. We're not going to buy him. We saw the talents. I get your point, but for me, I just want better players at the club, Liam.
No, I agree. I just, to your point, your friend was patient and he got the girl of his dreams at the end of the day. And I don't mind being that. I'm used to being the the popular guy, Man United, the Champions League football having team. And I feel a lot of people forget that we're not that anymore. We've put on a few pounds, we've cracked a few teeth. I don't know.
That's me.
I don't know.
That's me. I have. I'm haggard, mate. I'm haggard.
No, exactly. And like, I feel some people. We need to swallow our pride as United fans and be a bit patient. A lot of people are saying, no, we need to move fast. We do, but we can't. Like, I'm not going to blame Ineos because they're not in the same situation the Glazers were in. This is a different situation completely. You can't say, oh, United always act so slowly. United never gets their business done in time. All of this. Well, the business that we've been trying to do and get done quickly in Buemo, we're trying to get that done earlier. He wants to be on pre-season. I feel like with what's happening at the moment, I feel like Ineos is genuinely trying the best, and I've been proven wrong. I did not think it was going to be going as well as it is, and it's hard for me to say that, but let's see at the end of the window if I'm still feeling that way.
I feel similar to you. I think so far so good for Man United personally. I want one more player before pre-season starts. Well, we haven't quite got Mbeumo over the line, but it feels you would expect him from this point to be, in that shirt for the start of pre-season. So we'll see. Liam, pleasure speaking, mate. We'll chat again soon.
Thanks, Terry.
Top man. Big Rook is on with us now. What are you saying, bro?
Wait, can you see me?
Yeah, can see you and hear you.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for having me on, and obviously it's nice to see Henry Talks Football on. So yeah.
Right, you didn't call me Henry Talks Bollocks.
Yeah, Henry Talks. No, I've seen your content. I've seen your objective. But yeah, no worries.
I'm guessing you're an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, I'm an Arsenal fan.
What's your what are your thoughts today? Are you in the meltdown crowd, or are you a bit more relaxed about the whole
I'm
Kepa,
a bit
Sesko,
I'm
Gyökeres
a bit
situation?
more relaxed. I initially was having a slight meltdown like earlier this month, but I decided to like just chill out a bit because you know what? I said when Terry now broke down obviously the news from Zubimendi and what all the journalists said, David Ornstein for Onana, I said, you know what? Let me just take a step back a bit, chill out, and just be a bit more patient. I get obviously people's frustrations, but people just need to be a bit more patient rather than just having a meltdown over everything. Because I've seen I think for the past one thing I've seen, especially on Twitter, some Arsenal fans are just getting a meltdown every single day. Like if obviously it's a thing where, for example, by July we've not gotten any forwards, then I'd be a bit more like, for example, after first week that we've not signed someone, then I'd be a bit more concerned. But the fact that some Arsenal fans want to have a meltdown every single day is just wild to me because it makes me think that some people don't have anything better to do with their time and they're just sad and depressed.
The striker situation, obviously, it's probably going to drag on until July until like players are obviously back from their holidays and whatnot. Where do you kind of sit? Are you looking at Sesko thinking that's the striker for the future, or are you looking at Gyokeres saying bring in a guy who's ready now?
I look at Gyokeres as a ready and win now. I don't look at Sesko as
You think he'd be the better signing?
I think Gyokeres is the better signing out of him and Sesko.
Yeah, I agree.
Sesko's just not ready.
Listen, I don't know about ready, but I agree. I think Gyokeres is the better signing. I think Sesko. Listen, if Arsenal don't take Sesko and they get Gyokeres, I'd take Sesko. I think he's a lot better than people think he is. I really do. But I do agree with you. If I had the choice, but I wish I was in Arsenal's position. If I've got them both, if I've got Rihanna there and I've got Beyonce there, both asking me out, like I'm going with the better one, which is Beyonce. Like as simple as not everyone agrees with me on that. A lot of people go, "Nah, Rihanna's much nicer," but that's preference, I suppose. But yeah, no, I'm going with Gyokeres as well, mate. I am. My bro, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. I appreciate it, my G. Thank you very much indeed. Next, we got Tete, on the show. What are you saying, brother?
I'm good. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, perfect, bro. Let everyone know who you support and what you're here to say.
I'm an Arsenal fan. I've also been in the show a couple of times under the name Tevin. But and I'm
Tevin,
a member.
it's you, Tevin. Yes, brother. You look different. You're normally on a different camera. I know you was Tevin. You're Tete in the group chat. Yes, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You well.
Yeah, I'm good. I was I had a little cold, but I'm good now. I'm good.
Good, bro. I mean, what do you make of today? I mean, there's been the Norgard meltdown. There's then the two different they are contradictory stories, but we know why because Bert is working on both deals. What's your feeling towards them? What's your feeling towards it all?
I just feel we as a fan base just loves to be in a constant state of headloss. I just think that's what it is. I think I understand the need for I would say a need to pick up the pace on certain aspects, but we're losing two midfielders. We got one in, and then we're getting a next one in Norgard. Is he glamorous? No, but I think he's just gonna do a job. It's a 31-year-old for £9 million. I think if you're gonna take an approximation, and he's a good tackler. He's not flashy, but he's gonna do a job. He's gonna sit on the bench for Zubimendi and Rice. If they need a rest, he can come in. He can do a job. I don't see a problem with that. I'm not gonna go crazy about that. Am I gonna say I'm excited for the signing? No, but who's gonna be excited for a £9 million signing? It's just I want him to come in and do a job, and his injury record seems to be fine as well. So I'm not going crazy over it. As far as the striker signing, I agree with most folks that say Gyokeres is probably the better option. However, I think I'm actually more focused on the left wing signing or the other attacking signing, because I believe if we get a mercurial talent like Rodrigo or one of those top left wingers, I don't think who we get as a striker matters as much. However, if it's Gyokeres, then I think we can probably not. We don't have to get Rodrigo to balance it out. However, if we get Sesko, it only makes sense if we get Rodrigo. And that's how I view it. I don't think Sesko is a shit player. I don't think he's a bad player. However, I do understand the need for a win now player, and that is more representative in Gyokeres, his skill and his pedigree and his finishing as a striker, his goal record. So I understand him being the first choice as a striker. But for me, I'm more focused on who we get as that next attacker. Because
I get that.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go on, continue. Sorry.
Because I think, funny enough, I think Sesko, people say Havertz is better. I don't think so. I think Sesko is a better ball striker. I think Sesko, what Sesko had to do for Leipzig is underrated in terms of he was never in and around the box. That was what Opendo was for. So he did a lot of his work outside of the box. So his shot chart, he took a lot of more difficult shots. Yes, he missed easy ones. All strikers miss easy ones. But I think he did a lot more work outside of the box than he needed to in that Leipzig system, and he's younger. However, I'm still not going to say he's a better striker than Gyokeres at this moment. So
yeah, I understand that. And I think Sesko will shock a few people. I think he will do a lot better than people are giving him credit for in the Premier League. I don't think he's going to be this massive massive piece of work makes him sound like a bad guy. I don't think he's going to be this massive project that's nowhere near Premier League top level. I just don't personally see it. I could end up being wrong, and we all get predictions wrong on players. But on everyone being angry, look, people are entitled to feel how they want to feel. I agree with that. But it's always a lot easier being angry than it is being positive. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. If somebody predicts, we're going to sign this striker, this attacker, and we're going to win the league, and it doesn't happen, they might get cooked in 5 years' time still for that. Where when somebody predicts something being bad, unless they run an agenda where they're just every day angry, if they go, we're going to sign crap strikers, we're not going to get a good winger, we're going to be awful next season, and then you sign good players and you have a good season, they just get to join in the party and celebration with everybody else. So I think some people are angry and are allowed to be. I think others find it easier to say everything's going to be bad and then be happy when it's good than it is to put your head above the parapet and say, I think this is a good deal, and then it doesn't work out. Does that mean the amount of players I've predicted that would do bad in the Premier League that have done good? Nobody ever brings it up. The players I've predicted would do well, that have done well, nobody brings it up. All they focus on is, you said Rasmus would score more goals than this. Yeah, I got that one wrong. But that's it. None of the, when I said that Haaland would break the goal scoring record in his first season in England, everyone who called me a wanker, not one person messaged me when he broke it halfway through the season and went, you were right. And by the way, I don't need that validation. I stand on my opinions, right or wrong. I do think that's why a lot of people now people are expecting, especially if you're a social media presence, if you're in the group chats with us like yourself, if you're a YouTuber, a TikToker, I think a lot of the time, and this isn't an Arsenal specific thing, I think this goes right across the board, it's maybe a little bit easier to be annoyed at everything and then celebrate later than it is to be positive and be wrong. When you're positive and you're wrong, I think the level of abuse, typically speaking, is higher. Now, there are people out there that get, listen, the Lee Gunner is an example here where he has his view on football. I agree with many points of it. I know you watch the shows, there's bits I disagree with. The level of abuse that man gets, I sometimes feel is above and beyond just because he doesn't see football the way you do. It shouldn't get down to pejoratives. It shouldn't get down to name calling. It shouldn't get down to being overly aggressive with people. And I've always stood by him as best I can. And I've made jokes and things, and they haven't gone down well with him, and I've apologized for those things. But by and large, I think it's easier to be downbeat and upset and celebrate later than it is to be positive and get it wrong. Igal's by the way, Igal's an extreme version of being happy, but you get my point.
I
think it's just about being balanced, really. I think it's just about being balanced here. And when I'm seeing people say, I can't believe this is our party replacement, I can't believe the disingenuous nature of that claim when I'm not an Arsenal fan, and I've read the articles that say 2 or 3 of them have said the complete opposite to that. And yet that's now being ignored. I don't get it.
I'm a bit torn on the party thing. As I mentioned before, I don't think Norgard is a bad player. Would I have rather Partey stayed? Sure. I definitely would have rather Partey stayed. However, I'm always skeptical of a guy that has his best or healthiest season in his contract year. We've seen this story over and over and over and over.
That's very true.
He's been here 5-6 years, and I can only count about 1.5 year where we saw a top quality party, and then to add to a 200K a week salary to bump that up and give him possibly 2 to 3 years. I can understand the club looking at that and saying, no, I don't think that's feasible for us, because again, we give him that bumper contract and then he goes out for another 3-4 months. And we only have Zubimendi there, and then Zubimendi picks up a hamstring or whatever it is, and now we're stuck.
I do agree. I do agree.
So-
I really, really do. And it's like this. We see it in the Man United fan base. Everyone that was like, oh, I want this to happen and I want that. The club do it and it goes wrong, and they slag the club off for doing it. It's like, hang on a minute, where's your accountability? Oh, by the way, actually, before we go, I'm gonna drop this now. I've got to do this. I want to thank. I want to thank Puma and the Premier League for sending me next season's Premier League ball in a nice little case. See this bad boy.
How have you managed that?
Yeah,
That's
Puma
sick.
and the Premier League sent me
It's
this
not
ball.
even released yet.
It has been released. It's in my house. It's right
No,
here.
I don't think you can buy it.
This man's going
They've
places.
sent you a match
Look
ball.
at that, Bab. That's what happens, you see. That's what you get when you're the clickbait king.
So
You know
you
what
said,
I mean?
Terry, you're streaming from a yacht next year. That's what you said.
I wish, mate. It's really nice. It's very, very nice, though. It's in this glass cabinet.
it's
I mean,
cool.
well, it's not glass, it's plastic. I'm going to move. It's going to fall out now. Look at it. It's very nice, though. Very nice. It's extremely light. That is a
I like that
beautiful
ball.
football. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful
I like that.
football. But I'm going to put it back on its on the stand over here.
Can't believe you've got a legit Premier League football.
It pays to be an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, it does. It's free on the screen at the moment, if you believe.
Thankfully, I got it. I got delivered today. A gentleman messaged me about 2 weeks ago and said, "Do I want one?" And I responded and sent my details. And I didn't. You know when you're not too sure if they're real or not.
True.
And this box came today. I was eating my dinner and I opened the door and I opened it and I was like, "It's a football." I didn't click at first. And then I looked around. My dog was about to grab it with his mouth. He loves a ball. All right. My dog, I was like, no, rocket. And then I saw the case. It's a very nice ball. So big up to Puma and the Premier League for sending that through to me. I'm sure the Premier League have not realized that I'm the guy that calls out the PGMO every week. But anyway, I've got a free ball.
Keep being an Arsenal fan, Henry. You're next. You're next.
Yeah, I was about to say you need to hook me up whatever source that was.
Listen, I know there's a lot of callers backstage. I don't have any more time for calls tonight. I'm so sorry. I know there's a lot of members there as well. I apologize profusely. I'm back tomorrow, later than usual, around 1 p.m. With Ben Jacobs talking transfers. We have the top 6 show tomorrow as well. Boys, thank you both for coming on. This is going to redirect you to Don Hassam's channel. So go and support my brother over there. But before you go and check out Caddy Comps right now. If you're a budding golfer, so many things they're giving away free over there. It's amazing. If you're not, though, you might still win it and you can sell it. Over 300 grand's worth of stuff being given away this week alone. So go and check it out by scanning that QR code below, Tevin, or click on the link in our description below. But until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.